You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Feel like who art Ed?
We'll try to spice it.
Who art it? Mr. Wood art Ed me.
Good. Either way, it's ambiguous. It works on so many levels.
I know.
That's off to a great start.
Welcome to Who Arted, where we explore visual arts in an audio medium. I'm your host, Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be looking at Norman Rockwell. Just a reminder, if you're listening on Amazon Music, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that supports episode-specific cover art, you can see an image of the work in this episode and every episode. And be sure to check the show notes for this episode. I've got links for the Arts Madness tournament. You can check out the brackets and fill out the prediction form to tell me which artist you think will win the tournament. Remember, I'll be using all the ad money I get for the month of February to send Amazon gift cards to a number of randomly selected participants. On the topic of ad money and gift cards, if you fill out the network survey at surveymonkey.com/r/airwave or linked in the show notes, you can give us a little bit of feedback, tell us what kind of ads and products you might be interested in. And if you take the time to fill out that survey, you'll be entered for a chance to win a $500 Amazon gift card. Now, on to the actual topic for today's episode. Norman Rockwell and his painting, Freedom from Want. In 1941, during his State of the Union address, the American President Franklin Delano Roosevelt discussed what he referred to as the four freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. The speech was a hit with the American people and greatly impacted Norman Rockwell, an American artist largely celebrated for his ability to illustrate an idealized vision of American society. Norman Rockwell was a gifted painter, and his talents were appreciated from an early age. He was taking classes at the New York School of Art at age 14, and a year later, he was in the Art Students League. In fact, at age 15, he got his first paid commission. He's best known for his paintings that graced the covers of several magazines, but most notably, the Saturday Evening Post. He painted 323 covers of the Post. While these magazine covers made his work highly visible, it was his series based on the four freedoms that would come to cement his place in art history. Rockwell is associated with a kind of nostalgia. His is a romanticized notion of small-town America, and while it's problematic in overrepresentation of a singular cultural perspective, Rockwell himself was committed to principles that he believed should be applied to all people. And if you want to learn more about his feelings on social justice and civil rights, I would refer you to an episode I'll link in the show notes, the full episode I recorded with Candido Crespo, where we talked about Rockwell and his painting, The Problem We All Live With. Norman Rockwell painted the four freedoms as a means of illustrating the concepts in FDR's speech, and for a large segment of American society, his painting, illustrating freedom from want, would come to represent the ideal Thanksgiving celebration, with multiple generations gathered around the table as the matriarch sets out the cooked turkey ready to be carved. After hearing FDR's speech, Rockwell made a series of charcoal sketches and tried to get a commission from the Office of War Information. He was harshly turned away and told, quote, "The last war, you illustrators did the posters. This war, we're going to use fine arts men, real artists," end quote. Luckily, the editor of the Saturday Evening Post saw the potential in Rockwell's work and told him to get to work on them right away. To create freedom from want, Rockwell used his friends and neighbors as models. He photographed his cook, Mrs. Thaddeus Wheaton, as she presented the turkey on Thanksgiving Day, 1942. He also painted his wife Mary in the picture. Interestingly, while he did not struggle in painting the picture, he actually said it was relatively easy to create, he did struggle with whether to use it in the series. He was concerned that his image was not a literal translation of the essay text. They wouldn't match. Norman Rockwell also struggled with whether this particular image was really appropriate to show. Now, I know it's not a scandalous image as it's a wholesome family gathered around the table, but he felt like it could be a bit inappropriate to be showing such a massive feast. I mean, was this really freedom from want, or is this overindulgence? He knew that he had been very fortunate in his life and his career and living a comfortable life, but many people, particularly in war-torn Europe, were not so lucky. But his editor told him it was fine. This was a good decision, because freedom from want became the image that defined Rockwell's style for many. The Four Freedoms series was immensely popular, not only on magazine covers, but in posters as well. The Saturday Evening Post made reproductions available to the public, and they got over 25,000 orders. Now, while 25,000 orders seems pretty good, the real big order came from the Office of War Information, which had initially rejected Rockwell. They ended up ordering 2.5 million posters of the series. With numbers like that, it's pretty hard to deny that illustrators are real artists.
This concludes this week's episode of Who Arted, part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. If you found this tolerable, please leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. You can find images of the work being discussed this week and every week on social media at Who Arted Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and of course on the website whoartedpodcast.com. Podcast done.